Alright, so I wanted to continue with my previous video where we were talking about my ending to Berserk previously the last video is part 1. This is going to be part 2, hoping to finish this out. Essentially, just as a recap, I was looking to do this because I love the story of Berserk. I think it's an incredible, amazing story. And sadly, with the passing of Kentaro Miura, the author, I don't know if we're ever going to get a full-fledged ending, more or less. I could see his assistants trying to continue the story, but I don't know if they'll be able to. One, because of course, I mean, there's obviously, and they're under no illusions that they'll be able to copy the original author and anything like that. Or anything like that, obviously. My hesitation is that I could see them coming up with a kind of TLDR version, kind of like this is the outline that he laid out, and then kind of let fans, that would honestly be the nicest thing, because they just let fans do the crowdsource the ending for the remaining artwork or something for the chapters and kind of move that to the end so that we could actually get an ending. But I'm not sure I see that happening. I see the assistants have said, I think that they're going to try and end it, however, it hasn't been too much on their front, so not sure. So basically this is my my attempt at doing an ending. And again, just to reiterate the last point, I have my criticism of Berserk. What I'm going to be writing is my own ending. This is not trying to, I'm trying to keep it in the style, keep the style and keep the atmosphere and keep it true to the source, but it will be undoubtedly my own ending. There's no way around that or anything like that. So this is not going to be probably different from what some people will imagine, but basically this is just my attempt to provide some closure, basically, just because I want to see the end, see it to the end. So continuing on from there, so previously we had basically I distributed up into kind of 3 different parties. Let's see. Over here was Guts and Casca. Over here was Rickert and Silat, the Arab ninja guy. And then over here was kind of Griffith and then Charlotte. Spell that up. 2 L's. Oh well, she's going to be with 2 L's from now on. So these are our 3 different groups. So basically kind of where we left off with Griffith, or Guts, and Casca. Basically they went to the Dwarf Kingdom, basically, and found underground, Balrog, basically, having some version of a Balrog fighting. Basically find a ancient weapon. And maybe something else lore building. Like, I didn't mention this in the next one, but possibly, an old Bailet or something. Or maybe there would be a Bailet, a good version of a Bailet or something like that. That would be interesting. But basically the weapon would be giving Guts more firepower and how to actually tackle and fight Griffith. Because that's really what he needs. He basically has no chance against Griffith as it stands. So he needs to be able to do that. So basically what this fight would do is the Balrog would be on par with one of Griffith's generals, basically. So we would kind of slowly get Guts up there to where he can kind of fight on that level, so we can kind of expect this to be the next, basically go up from the next level. So, previously he's able to kill a bunch of apostles, but the generals still are able to give him, basically undefeatable. But then now with this new weapon from here, the new weapon I was looking at was I was just imagining as some sort of like crossbow thing. I thought that would be really cool. Possibly either used by Casca. That would be kind of a cool aspect of it to kind of show, go against the individualistic nature that Guts has been having for the past time. So kind of go and kind of show that Guts does need people, basically, and that's the bulk of it. So that's kind of what they were doing, more or less. Then over here with Rickert, basically they went to the Sand Village. And essentially their bulk, the thing I want them to do is essentially just the Elder has a vision for the destruction of Falconia. Let's see. You know, it's a trap, basically. So basically, this is kind of going to provide the next impetus for the next plot point from here. And that's kind of where we're at with them. And then for Guts and Kosk, remember, basically there's the body of he shares a body with the Moonchild, and he needs to fix that. So he doesn't share a body. Let's see. Doesn't share a body. And so what he's trying to do is figure that out. So basically then towards the end, there's strife between the nobles plus apostles. Plus apostles. And then Griffith falls into a coma, basically. And then, of course, afterwards, he sends the apostles out on a quests, basically. So this kind of is a quick and dirty solution to the problem, basically. But yeah, he falls into a coma. So basically, this is a oh snap moment. Let's see. An oh snap moment for Charlotte and the rest of the gang, because they are completely. Let me silence my phone real quick. They are completely unable and have no idea what to do without Griffith, basically, because of course he's the only person who could hold it all together with all the apostles and everything. So this is kind of where we're at right now. So, and of course with this we start to see, I think I basically was also having what was it? Farnese and Serpico are going to join up with a human group. We're going to say the human foreign, I think we called them the foreign foreigners, basically the foreign humans. And they are basically using bits of gunpowder, because we see gunpowder already used in the original season, I'm pretty sure. We already seen them kind of used to some extent, at least in cannons and stuff. But basically then with Rickard, I'm going to have it so that these foreigners are able to somewhat fight the apostles, because we need to even the playing field with gunpowder, basically. So that way it's no longer essentially, because basically at this point the human armies are more or less completely useless, and that's not where you want to go. So basically then from here we've got a few options. So the question is, what do we do with Guts? What do we do with Rickard and them, and Charlotte? So this is kind of the point where I'm kind of planning on trying to wrap it up. I thought I had some sort of plan for what to do about the God Hand, because I couldn't think of an exact good ending for them, because I didn't know what it is. Because it seems like, if we're going to give 25 to 50 chapters for a big boss, basically. A big boss could be the God Hand or a general. We've got 5 God Hand members, and we've got like 5 generals, basically. So essentially what we're looking at is, a lot more of Berserk, basically. A lot of chapters. You do the math from there, a lot of chapters from Berserk. So I don't think that's feasible for our ending. Now, I think it is possible. I also think with Berserk, I think it's I don't want to be that guy, but I think it's gone on long enough in the sense that I don't know if it going on for another 20 years is actually viable. So I'm going to discount that. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try to find out a good ending then for the God Hand. And I think probably what we'll do is we're going to have kind of like a side fight, basically, where Guts or Griffith lays a trap, basically, then to uses Guts and the Skull Knight to kill the God Hand for him, because he doesn't want the God Hand. Because remember, Griffith isn't going to suffer rivals. He's not going to suffer rivals. He wants to be the only one. So he's going to try and get rid of them as fast as possible. So what I'm thinking on this is probably about this point in the story, Griffith comes up with a plan to try and get rid of the God Hand. Possibly there's a member of the God Hand that's near this Dwarven Kingdom for Guts. The Skull Knight shows up. like I said, this part is a little bit hazy because I hadn't fully thought it through because I didn't know timeline-wise what it is. So maybe we'll figure out where to put this plot point in. But for right now, this is how I'm planning on ending it. And basically, what the idea is that the presumably the Skull Knight and the God Hand, or at least the head of the God Hand, disappear, or basically presumably die, more or less. Because we want to kind of resolve that plot point from there. And basically what this would do is it will get rid of the Skull Knight, which we'll all be sad about, but let's see, there's the God Hand. But at the same time, the story is ultimately about Guts versus Griffith. You know, this is the fight. This is what we want to focus on. So this is what we're going to focus on from here. So what we'll probably go with from here is basically the, we have the foreign army, and then basically from here, the Elder Vision. So they will probably, yeah, so Rickard and crew are more or less going to, I'm going to have them probably link up with Serpico and Farnese, maybe come to their rescue. They're going to work with this foreign army, basically, who's going to be the last remnants of humans, and these are the ones who, their focus is the elimination of the apostles. There's a few things we can do to flesh this group out. They could be a rival religion. I know basically the Catholic religion version has basically teamed up. The Pope has teamed up. That maybe it's something based off of Muslim, or maybe there's another religion they can kind of build and take inspiration from, because he kind of took the Eastern nations to go with, I guess they were kind of like the Hindu nation with all the elephants and everything, with the... I can't even think of the name. The previous kingdom, where basically the guy was a giant monster. So essentially, we're going to do this. But either way, the short end of this, they're going to eliminate apostles using, of course, gunpowder. So they're going to be really effective at using. We're talking cannons, a lot of cannons, artillery, guns, bombs, mines. So they're going to use all of these things available to them that little weak humans can actually do, which is good, because otherwise there's no way a normal human can fight up against these guys. You know, this is something that Guts can do successfully, but everyone else is kind of in trouble. So this is kind of where these people are at, and what they're going to do after hearing the news that this is all a trap. They're going to head to Falconia, basically. They're going to march towards Falconia. Let's see. Go to Falconia. So over here, what we have, Griffith is trying to, basically he falls into a coma. The reason for this is he's trying to figure out a way to separate himself from the Moonchild. So he's going to figure out some way to kind of go forward with this. So what he's going to do, of course, he doesn't really care about Falconia. He doesn't care about the people in it. And he doesn't care about anyone else. These are all means to an end. Let's see, people. Oops, doesn't care about the people. So what he wants is to basically become a god. He wants to become the soul god, essentially. That's what he wants. So this is the new plan, basically. And he can't do that if he shares a body with the Moonchild. Can't get that without the Moonchild. So he's got to get rid of that. So that's what the plan of falling into a coma is doing. So essentially then I'm going to be moving pretty fast here, because at some point I will probably go into super fine detail and kind of go into the nitty gritty of it. Probably when I get a better idea for the lore and everything. I know there's a number of videos that go deep into the lore and symbolism. And I'm honestly not too up to date on that. Like, I've read through the series twice, and I have a pretty good understanding, and I'm I think a good understanding of how I would end it, or what I would want to see from an ending. But this is definitely far from perfect. This is just my interpretation, and basically interpretation. And just how I would end it, basically. You know, if I was put in the shoes, these are the plot points that I would want to see. I want to see Guts being cool. I want to see Casca become useful. I want to see the humans eventually win, but I don't want to rid the world of the magic. I want the magic to stay around. I don't want it to basically turn into medieval Europe at the end of it. So it's going to become rare, but is still present, essentially. So kind of what I want to do is, they have like, I don't know, planet cycles, basically, where they're like this, and like this, right? So this is where this cycle goes. It kind of goes around like that, arrows. And so basically what we're looking at is the planet is kind of right here, basically, so it's close. And by the way, I should back up, but this is the way the magic. So let's say the magic's the cross between the worlds, basically. So as this is the dark world, we'll call it DW, the dark world, and this is Earth. So basically then what we've got is as the planet gets here, the dark world and the Earth touch, or more or less get close enough so where the apostles can jump over, and then it goes back around here, and then it comes back around. So basically there's a cyclical process of where suddenly monsters are released on the world, and this can be 1,000 years or something like that, or 500 years, whatever you want. I'm probably leaning towards 1,000. This is probably it, so we can kind of see a full cycle of generations and people forget about magic. So that basically this is my explanation for how it would work and kind of go in the future. So basically at the end of Berserk, we're going to be at this point. So basically we have 1,000 years of no magic, or very rare magic, and then it'll come back, presumably. Something like that, and we'll have to see, presumably it'll be like that, see how humans deal with it there. See how humans deal with it, because at that point they'll have superior technology and yada yada, but ultimately it's beyond the scope of the story, so it doesn't really matter. But essentially that's my explanation for it. That's my lore background for it, and the reason why is because I really hate it when stories that have all this magic and everything that makes the story interesting, granted it makes it violent, but it makes it interesting, they go back to, and then it turns into just medieval Europe. At the end of the day, we're just back to medieval Europe, and it's like, no, I want fiction, and I want it to stay fiction. I don't want it to turn into just another something like that. So, all that said, we're going to move towards the actual plot. I'm running out of paper here, so let's see what we've got here. So basically, ultimately, what we're going to do is we're going to skip forward a little bit. So Guts and Casca have the weapon. They have this weapon, basically. Maybe they have some dwarven allies, whatever you call it. And then now they're headed to Falconia, basically. That's where they're headed to, because they're going to face Griffith, basically. This foreign army is headed to Falconia. What they're going to do is probably fight one of the generals or something like that, fight up against the apostle army. Let's see. Probably something like that. Bless me. They've got the Apostle Army, and then, of course, Griffith is in a coma, and we're going to go into detail what his I'm trying to read if I wrote down the character name for one of these people, because I can never remember her name. I think it's Elizabeth, I want to say. But basically figure out what's going to happen there. So, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to have Falconia. It's going to be right here, the giant F. So, what we're going to have is Guts and Casca are going to fight one of the generals, basically. Probably like the Dragon Knight, or probably not him. Probably one of the others. Oh, excuse me. Move this stuff out of the way. Probably the Dragon Knight, or maybe one of the others, maybe the Bow guy, or the Lance guy, just depending. Probably the Lance guy, we're going to call it. The reason why is because the Dragon guy kind of has been built up to be the boss, so I kind of want that to be the fight one. And then they're going to head off this way. So they're going to kill this guy, kill the general, and continue to move on to Falconia. The army here is going to go up here, and they're going to go, let's see, foreign army versus, we're going to call him the Dragon Knight. And I'm not quite sure what needs to happen for it. I think just a lot of people are going to die. I don't know if there can really be a winner. There just may not be a loser, more or less. It's going to be kind of like a stalemate. So we're just going to call that a stalemate. And then maybe the army just leaves Falconia. Who knows? Maybe that's the plan. Basically, they defended enough and go from there. And then basically, what's going to happen in Falconia, it's going to descend into chaos. Because basically what the ultimate plan of Griffith is, kind of with every big transformation, there's like a sacrifice. Like when Griffith ascends to become a member of the God Hand, there is that giant sacrifice and there's a lot of bloodshed. So essentially what I'm doing, trying to culminate is a similar rhyme. So, you know, this is the ritualistic aspect of the story, and lore and everything lines up for it. So this is what we're going to have happen in the story. So also from here, maybe before, or maybe they're in another world, they meet maybe at this point we'll have Guts and the Skull Knight go off to fight the God Hand or something. Or maybe just the Skull Knight, they just see a vision of the Skull Knight. Let's see. And maybe that's it. Maybe there's no more details. I kind of like that aspect. There's kind of like the mystery. It is a bit frustrating for the people who want answers, but for the mystery factor, if they just disappear, the Skull Knight and the God Hand just went off, and you just don't really hear about them, that would be really awesome. That would work out pretty nicely in that regard. But I understand why people wouldn't like that. But basically, presumably, they're going to die or something like that. They're going to go off and fight. So they're going to go in here. They're going to fight the basically enter Falconia. So essentially, what the scene is we're going to have a lot of dead people. The chaos inside is basically the humans are going to turn on the apostles, and they're going to try and side with this foreign army here, basically here. And then the apostles are going to turn on them, so there's going to be a lot of bloodshed in here. And basically, let me figure out what this person's name is. Yes, over here. Move my hand. Excuse me, pardon me. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. There we go. All right. Sonia. Yeah, Sonia. That's who it is. So she's going to play a pretty big part. So I'm actually going to go to a different page because I'm running out of room. So essentially for the Falconia fight, this is going to be the kind of the scene from here, basically. So we're going to go with the Falconia Showdown. And so basically what we're going to have is Griffith is in a coma. And over here we've got Guts plus Koska plus, what is the... Shirk. That was her name. I always forget. Especially in mangas, I'm always really bad with names because I just look at faces, and you can just see who's fighting. So you just kind of forget it from there. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so these people, and they're headed towards Gus, and basically then we've got over here, we've got the foreign army, where we've got Farnese, Serpico and the group, basically, and the other humans, basically. We have a fill in the blank. We can come up with some extra characters for these, but it's not as important. Just think of them as a king or emperor or nobles, or basically very skilled swordsmen. Because remember, we're trying to expand the world here a little bit, and basically we need to have more powerful people. So if there's humans like Guts running around, presumably there could theoretically be someone who's less strong as Guts in another nation. So we're going to call him, let's see, other Guts, basically, or other fighter. I don't know. I need to come up with a good name for him. Basically, this could be something where it's like a Japanese, strong Japanese, like an Asian influence or something like that. So we're going to call him like the samurai. That'll be good. Where Isidoro is from, basically, the samurai. So basically some really strong fighters from another nation, another foreign nation that have come to Falconia. And you can see basically they're here. They've, their backstory, I think I covered a little bit in the other one, but basically their story is they've eliminated killed all apostles in their world. Let's see, in their kingdom, and they're going on more. And they're here to come and eliminate the apostles in this other land, basically, from here. Which that kind of lines up. It would kind of be cool to see, we may make them samurai with guns. Or gun blades, or something cool like that. That's what we've got here. And then we have the Skull Knight. Again, I'm not exactly sure where this sequence is going to play out, but basically what I'll probably have is right towards the end, I think. I keep saying this is where I'm going to put it in, but I'm going to move it. Move it over a little bit. So basically, Guts comes up, and essentially what's happened in the inside is Sonia is becoming the archwizardress, or archbishop lady for Griffith. She has gone full power, so she now has magic power, but she's also going full crazy because she worships Griffith as a god, basically. So it makes sense. So Griffith has been taken to the Yggdrasil, the root of Yggdrasil. Let's say that. Let's see. The root of Yggdrasil in order to heal, and she's here. And the way I was trying to do this is I was like, I can come up with a lot of the plot points, but kind of coming up with a style of Berserk is really, really, really hard. I don't know if I'll be able to get anywhere close. But essentially what I was imagining is the entire Falconia, as per the prophecy from the old man in the Sand Village, is going to be sacrificed. So it's going to basically take it, and it's going to turn, and going in with the Yggdrasil, what I came up with mentally was basically it's going to turn all these citizens into these human flowers, basically, to source or power the tree, basically. So what it's going to do is going to make these like horrifically grotesque and bloodied flowers made out of human remains, more or less. It just seems very, and maybe the head's in here or something. So this is all like arm parts, and this is going to be the entire city. It's going to be horrifically bloody and grotesque, which is very much in style with Berserk, and it seems very horrific. And Sonia's going to look at this, and she's going to be the one doing it, and she's going to be like, yep, good deal, we got this. So this is what it's going to be. Guts and Casca are going to fight through. Maybe these people will fight another general, I think. Let's see, we've got... yeah, I'm trying to think of who they'll fight. I don't know. There's a few. It looks like there's 4 total. So they'll fight Irvine. Seems very much on theirs. Irvine is the bow guy. Guy. And then Guts and them will fight the Dragon Knight again. And they're going to kill the Dragon Knight, and these guys are going to kill the Bow Knight, basically. And they're going to lose someone. Or maybe it's the Samurai kills. And then the Samurai will fight, what is this guy named? Locus is the Knight, basically. And I forgot to mention, but I think I was going to have Rakshas was going to fight Silat. And he was going to die, but Silat was probably going to die as well. So basically they're going to kill each other. So that's basically -1 general from there. And we're going to basically take it on the generals. Because remember, this is all according to Guts' plan. He doesn't need them. He doesn't care about them. Remember, he's going towards the next level. The next level of God Hand. Basically, we've got God Hand. Down here, he wants to be capital G God. And in order to do that, he's going to need to get rid of all the other God Hand, but also he has to ascend. So there's got to be this ascension. He can't share his body. He can't do that. He has to continue to go up, moving up in the world, or else it just doesn't make sense. So basically, they're turning all these people into these grotesque humans. The armies are getting turned in, and they're doing this to humans and apostles. So maybe we'll make a note here. Humans. And basically, it's powering Yggdrasil. So Guts and them continue. They're looking at all these dead humans littered along the way, and then they're going to fight Zod. And I'm not exactly sure how I want to treat Zod, because I honestly really like Zod. I don't think anyone can dislike Zod just because he seems like very, very straightforward. But essentially what he does need to die. So at some point, I think the Skull Knight, Zod versus the Skull Knight, and the Skull Knight and Guts kill Zod. And I think he dies. And he dies happy, though. But then he also dies right before Griffith returns. And then probably Farnes and Serpico. So basically then I'm going to have 2 groups probably. So I'm going to have this, probably going to have, let's see, we'll call him Skull Knight, Guts, and Casca over here. And then over in another part we're going to have Farnes, Serpico, and Shirk. I don't know how to pronounce her name for that. And they're going to go fight Sonya. And who's the little guy who protects Sonya? Mule? Yeah. Sonya and Mule. And this is going to give us a great a moment, because Mule then has to decide, basically, after seeing what Sonya's done and creating these grotesque blood-created flowers, basically, he's going to have to decide what to do, who to join. And I'm not quite sure what he's going to do. I honestly think he's going to freeze and fight with Sonya. Or she's going to control him or do something like that. I think he's going to fight with Sonya, basically. Granted, he seems like he's a good fighter, but it's not that good. I mean, Serpico sliced through him in 2 seconds, presumably. So these guys are going to go against Sonya, basically at the root of Yggdrasil. And they're going to try and stop them from sacrificing the rest of the humans or something. The humans. And basically also while this is going on, it is, of course, raining blood, which seems, again, very grotesque and very fitting for this whole. I'm imagining like the ruined city, these human grotesque flowers everywhere, and as it's raining blood, the blood is basically pooling in the bottom of the city, and we're starting to get like, inches of blood, eventually to feet of blood, basically covering this entire city, which just seems very, very, very fitting. And I don't think I remember going over it, but basically Griffith's plan is, after he comes out of the coma, he's going to separate himself, he's going to get rid of the Moonchild, and then he's going to start the world anew. He's going to be the Adam of the world, and Eve is going to be Sonya. He's going to be the Adam God. That's what he's going to see. He's going to be the God Adam, basically. And Eve is going to be his chosen Sonya. Basically, they're going to repopulate and restart the world with just them two. And in order for that, he needs to kill everyone else, or basically kill everyone else. And that is the next step, because basically how do you create, you know, you have a utopian city, and what's better than a utopian city? A utopian world. Remember, we constantly have to be moving up for Griffith. He's never satisfied. He's dreaming bigger, 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 and going on to the next thing. So he's going to come up with the utopian world. This is his plan, basically. Guts and Casca come through. They're going to kill the remaining... kill Zod. Sadly, sad that Zod's dead. Either way, we're moving on. And then basically the Skull Knight is going to go off and fight the God Hand. Basically, they are at the city to watch and maybe even to stop Griffith. But basically, he's going to go fight the God Hand, and they go do their thing. Basically, at this point, we're just going to continue on with these guys. With these ones, and again, I'm skipping a lot of these parts because you can imagine in between each of these major plot points, there's a lot of little fighting, basically little details. You know, we jump to this building, we go here, we sleep here, we eat this food, we find food, we go here, we kill these guys, all these kind of little details, and I'm really fast forwarding through all of it. But basically, they're going to fight their way through the apostles, basically all the way up until, of course, they finally meet Griffith. And here we go, we've got the showdown, basically, the showdown between Guts. And I wanted to include Casca because she did get raped, and it seems fitting that she would be there to fight Griffith. Now, of course, she is no Guts. There's no chance that she's going to be able to match that, but kind of playing the support role and possibly operating, or the way I imagine it is basically if you have like the weapon would be, let's see, we have like a little dog. I'm going to do a horrible version of it. Alright, pretend this is a dog and this is Guts. And basically then the crossbow thing is here on the back. And then Casca is right here, managing that. And then, of course, he goes, pew, and kills Griffith. This is the plan, or something like this. Basically, she's providing the support role. That's the important thing, because there's no way she's going to be able to match Griffith to Guts, but anything like that. So, Griffith comes up. We could say he's weakened, basically, or in problems, basically, after the coma. Basically, I feel like you need some way to bring him back down to reality, because there's no way Guts is able to kill a god. It just doesn't seem like Guts is really great, he's really awesome, but it doesn't seem like that. So maybe Griffith's weakened, maybe we don't know. But basically, they're going to fight. They're going to fight. They're going to go through a few different iterations. They're going to fight, you know, sword fight. We're going to call it epic sword duel. Where we get to have an old-fashioned fight. They make a lot of references to their past, and how far they've come, and Griffith's like, I want to make, and basically this is where Griffith reveals, I want to make a new world. A new world. I am the god. I am the god Adam. That is what his line is going to be. That sounds really cool too. So I'm gonna use that later on in my own story. But I am the god Adam, basically. So they're going to fight, and then eventually it's going to get to a point where Guts gets the chance to kill Griffith, but then Casca orders him to stop. And this will be one of those pivotal moments where it's built up to be, can Guts control himself? Guts withholds. It doesn't kill him, and you're thinking, no, Griffith definitely deserves it. Absolutely does. We're definitely going to kill him. However, Griffith's plan was that when Guts tries to kill him, it would actually not kill Griffith. It would actually kill the Moonchild. Kill the Moonchild, basically. And this is Griffith's plan to get rid of the Moonchild, was to have Guts kill the Moonchild, and then so any repercussions, you could come up with some lore repercussions for whoever kills the Moonchild is cursed. Maybe Guts is the only one who can kill him because they're related. They have that blood connection, you know, that connection. He's the only one who can rid it, but basically Guts doesn't kill it. And so then what happens is, over here, basically the Moonchild then is going to consume Griffith. Is basically going to consume Griffith, and let's see, become become a new moon. That's basically what it's going to be. And this line, I really like this ending, mainly because it seemed like it was retribution, basically. So one of the things that was very, very disturbing in the first section of the series is basically when Griffith rapes Casca. This is something where it's obviously horrific, but even going beyond the horrificness of the action, it's not necessary. It's just, Griffith is a god. He probably doesn't enjoy sex. What is it for? It's all about power. It's all about taking whatever he wants. It's all about selfishness. It's unnecessary. It's not necessary to become a member of the God Hand to do this. Basically, it's just pure selfish evil. Basically, he's taking it on a whim. Basically, taking his will on a whim. Basically, it's horrific on a number of levels. That's what makes it such a good plot point. Candidly speaking, of course, it's obviously horrific for Guts. It's horrific for Casca. Puts her in that zombie state. Basically, just her mind breaks. This is all done with it, and so it makes perfect. Just we're gonna say literary justice. Justice to have the Moonchild kill Griffith. And basically, because what it was is basically it's the Moonchild exists. Basically seems to kind of what happened with that caused the Moonchild to get created is basically this strange as a reaction of Griffith's own actions. Basically, that seems to be what happened. Is basically the Moonchild wouldn't have happened the way it did if Griffith hadn't done what he did. But basically, so Griffith does this, and basically then the Moonchild comes through and kills Griffith. So then Griffith is dead, and then from here, yeah, it's kind of just wrapping up Loot's End. But basically, this is kind of the pinnacle point that I really wanted to have just happen, is that the Moonchild comes through, kills Griffith, and it just seemed to be the absolute justice because it is the ultimate punishment, basically. So basically that Griffith is punished not because of anything else, but because of himself. Because of himself. Oops, dies. His own actions. He's this mastermind plot thinking he's a god. He can bend space and time. He can do all this amazing, awesome stuff and everything. But at the end of the day, what ends up being the cause of his downfall, and it's himself. And I just think that really, really nails home. And I really like that. So that was what I was going to end it on, and how I was going to get Griffith to die. So Griffith is dead, and then now we're kind of in the ever after phase. But basically, I didn't want to go too much in detail into this because I don't think it matters, and I don't really think I thought too much through for this. So the ever after phase is Guts and Casca go off and get married and be together and spend time on, near Elf Island or something like that. The brand is cleared. The brand, of course, because Guts is dead, or Griffith is dead, so the brand is gone. So now Guts can stay in the same spot for long periods of time. We go to Elf Island. Shirke becomes the new witch lady. Farnese marries Serpico, of course. She gets over her weird obsession with Griffith, Serpico, and becomes Queen Lady. Or something. Queen, we'll say powerful, noble lady. Isidoro becomes the apprentice to Samurai Man. Or Guts. Either one. I'm fine with either one. Either one works. And basically, though, what we see reduction in the magic, so less magic over in the world, because again we're going through this. I showed it in the last page. That cycle, basically. If we're right here, we're moving this direction. So basically, there's going to be less magic present in the world. Less magic present in the world. Less magic, less monsters. less magic, less monsters, basically from there. And yeah, and then Guts and Casca, they go and live happily ever after. And basically that kind of wraps it up, and that's where I'll probably just end it at that point. Basically from here, where's my page? There we go. And so yeah, probably down the road I'll come through and kind of flesh a lot of these more details out, because I think I've got a lot of the little points that are missing. The big points, I think I've hit most of them that I would want to hit, and the next thing I need to go over is make sure the lore and symbolism and build more off those, because I know there's some pretty long videos that go into detail about this and I need to watch those, but I wanted to go ahead and get this out before watching those to kind of get my own thoughts and opinions on it. So I hope you guys liked it. I hope it comes to be kind of like a good ending that you guys can imagine, just because this is kind of what I came up with, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.